Old Fags by Stacy Aumonier. The boys called him Old Fags, and the reason was not hard to seek. He occupied a room in a block of tenements off Lisson Grove, bearing the somewhat grandiloquent title of Bolingbroke Buildings, and conspicuous among the many doubtful ceilings that occupied his time was one in which he issued forth with a deplorable old canvas sack, which after a day's peregrination among the gutters he would manage to partly fill with cigar and cigarette ends. The exact means by which he managed to convert this patiently gathered garbage into the wherewithal to support his disreputable body, nobody took trouble to inquire. Nor was there any further interest aroused by the disposal of the contents of the same sack when he returned with the gleanings of dustbins, distributed thoughtfully at intervals along certain thoroughfares by a maternal borough council. No one had ever penetrated to the inside of his room, but the general opinion of Bolingbroke Buildings was that he managed to live in a state of comfortable filth. And Mrs. Reed, who lived in the room opposite No. 477 with her 4 children, was of the opinion that Old Fags had ordied up a bit. He certainly was never behind with the payments of the weekly 3 and 6pence that entitled him to the sole enjoyment of No. 475, and when the door was opened, among the curious blend of odours that issued forth, that of onions and other luxuries of this sort was undeniable. Nevertheless, he was not a popular figure in the Buildings. Many, in fact, looked at him as a social blot on the Bolingbroke escutcheon. The inhabitants were mostly labourers with their wives, charwomen and lady helps, dressmakers' assistants and mechanics. There was a vague tentative effort among a great body of them to be a little respectable, and among some even to be clean. No such uncomfortable considerations hampered the movement of Old Fags. He was frankly and ostentatiously a social derelict. He had no pride and no shame. He shuffled out in the morning, his blotchy face covered with dirt and black hair, his threadbare green clothes tattered and in rags, the toes all too visible through his forlorn-looking boots. He was rather a large man, with a fat, flabby person and a shiny face that was over-affable and bleary through a too constant attention to the gin-bottle. He had a habit of ceaseless talk. He talked and chuckled to himself all the time. He talked to everyone he met in an undercurrent of jeering affability. Sometimes he would retire to his room with a gin bottle for days together.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?